Hello everyone and welcome back to the Business Key podcast with Debbie and Ochiko. So in today's podcast, we have a dilemma. Over to you, Ochiko.
Hi everyone. So the dilemma today is regarding a wedding situation that happened about a year ago. So I'll read the dilemma. So me and my fiance just got married 2 months ago and we had our dream wedding. Everything was perfect. And I mean everything. My parents and his parents helped us pay for a great chunk of the wedding, so we would be debt-free, and we are so eternally grateful for that. The issue arose about a month ago when my aunt started posting on Facebook about how disappointed she was with the whole ordeal, and a few guests sided with her. The background is my fiance and I are huge Disney fans, and we travel to Disney World as much as we can throughout the year. Disney is such an important part, not only to us, but also to our marriage. The issue was with our decision not to offer catering services or bar services at our wedding due to routing the money towards having Minnie and Mickey Mouse, like the official Minnie and Mickey Mouse, making appearances on our special day. The cost to have Minnie and Mickey for a chunk of 30 minutes was exactly what our parents allotted for our catering budget. So just background, the parents effectively gave them 6k towards catering, and the money that they would have used for catering, they decided to use it on having the official Minnie and Mickey Mouses making guest appearances on their special day for 30 minutes. So I think it was two appearances for 30 minutes.
Right.
So they foregoed the catering and the drinks, the bar services. So we shared no parents during our first dance on our wedding photos, forgoing serving food. There were plenty of facilities at the venue where people could eat. And by the facilities, that's like vending machines and the like, where people could like grab some, I would imagine if it's a vending machine, it would be like, snacks, maybe a chocolate bar and so on. My parents were still very supportive of us, but everyone else is being passive aggressive about it on Facebook. Is this person in the wrong, or how do you think they did with their money decision here? They've also added, for everyone saying that it's too much for 30 minutes, they just want to add a disclaimer that it was 2 30-minute sessions. So it was about 3k per session.
Okay. Yep. You want to go first?
No, we'll hear it from you first.
Oh, I want me to go first. Okay, it sounds absolutely ridiculous. first hearing it, that's just me personally. To kind of use the budget for food on a guest appearance. However, it's not my wedding. I'm not the couple, and so taking myself out of it, I can understand that it's the couple's special day. It's their big day. They want it to be the way they want it to be, and their parents have offered to help. They're not willing to use any of their own money, I guess, to supplement the wedding. So they had a choice to make, and they chose to sacrifice the food at the wedding. Yeah, so I think it's down to their own personal preference, but I don't think they should be surprised that there was some backlash, especially because weddings tend to be an all-day affair, and also it's also customary to have food at the wedding. So I think it's reasonable for the guests to expect there to be food, particularly if they're going to be there for all hours of the day, and especially if the alternative to being served food at the wedding is a vending machine, so crisps and chocolate. I don't know how that's going to nourish somebody for the entire day. It almost seems to me, if they were so, I guess, if in their mind, their big thing was, we want to have our wedding day be our wedding day, it almost sort of beggars the thought, why even bother with having a big ceremony? Why not just spend the money to go to Mickey and Minnie Mouse World or Disney World, and just enjoy your day? So yeah, on the one hand, I can understand that it's their day, that's the way they wanted it. On the other hand, it also seems that they just had a total disregard of their guests, and I don't think they should be surprised that their family is a bit disgruntled about it, particularly as they are disgruntled. Maybe they didn't realise until they actually attended a wedding that the only food would be crisps and chocolate from the vending machine.
That is actually one of the points that came out of it. Some people were asking were the guests warned, and what the person came back to say is that we clearly outlined in the invitations that food was available at the venue, is what they said in the invitation. However, they didn't spell out that by food they meant vending machines would be available, that it would be from a vending machine.
Also, people might have presumed, if you're saying food will be available, that they would be the ones providing the food, or that maybe they would provide like a food token voucher or something. But yeah, like you said, even if they were prepared to purchase food, perhaps they were expecting actual meal as opposed to vending machine food. So what about you? What's your thoughts?
My thoughts is, I think the initial thoughts is, I've actually been to a wedding. I've been to a wedding where they ran out of food and I didn't get, and it just comes back to the expectations, isn't it? You just expect that when you go to a wedding that you will get food. So to go to a wedding and not have anything to eat, but a vending machine food. So we're talking like chocolate bar crisps, which is not very filling. Yeah, it's outrageous. Absolutely outrageous.
And the vending machine doesn't accept change. Some might have to go nuts.
Yeah, exactly. Might not accept change. Yeah, it's absolutely outrageous. And like you said, it's a whole day event. So for sure, you're going to be hungry. Yeah, outrageous. Especially as the money was actually given in good faith to be spent on catering.
True.
And they changed their mind and decided to put on this Disney thing. Although I think you made a great point that it's their special day, so it's kind of up to them what they want to do. To be honest, it kind of sounds similar to, I don't know, something, it sounds like something out of Don't Tell the Bride. You know the wedding program, Don't Tell the Bride? Yeah, it sounds like something out of that where they'll just pull off. But even then, they had still had food. To not have any food is...
Yeah. So just for a bit of background, Don't Tell the Bride was a British reality TV show where a couple who had been engaged for a while applied to be on the show, and their husband and wife, the fiancés would be separated, and the male, the groom, would have complete responsibility of planning the wedding with a £12,000 budget within 3 weeks. And so you would often see some really ridiculous ideas because it was almost like the reins are off and the groom is deciding to have whatever wedding they want to have, from themes, from jumping out of the sky to getting married on a banana boat. You saw really like outrageous themes. So yeah, this whole dedication of £6,000, which is a lot of money, on a Mickey and Minnie Mouse experience. It's definitely something out of Don't Tell the Bride for sure.
Yeah, it did tend to be outrageous things, like you said. So yeah, definitely reminds me of that. But like you said, I think it's ultimately it's their choice, isn't it, to what to do. But at the same time, there's going to be consequences for that for sure for the guests, because that is just you wouldn't normally expect such a thing.
Yeah, and also think some guests might have travelled quite far. They might have come from different states or different places. They might have spent quite a lot of money on their outfit, on also they might on a gift or to the couple as well. And the least that could be provided is a bit of food for the day to sort of help them get through the day.
Yeah.
Especially if the only other alternative was vending machine food, which I think is quite rude. Yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe what they could have done is maybe got one performance, say, from the Disney thing, and then used like half of the budget. Like if they had some food, that would be better. But to have literally no food, or maybe even what they could have, I don't even know. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. You could even reduce the guest list a little bit and then have half the budget for the food.
Right.
And that way people can still eat. Because I think that is quite an important part of the wedding experience, for people to actually have nourishment, especially if they're going to be there for the entire day into the evening. For them to not be able to have a meal, it's quite ridiculous, I think. So,
but that's actually an interesting point. What actually can be cut and what can't be cut? It's quite a tricky one, because I've seen it before with a couple that didn't have a DJ, didn't have an MC, and it definitely felt like something was missing from that one. But it's go on.
Yeah, I think it would depend on the culture of the couple getting married, and I guess what the customs and the norms and expectations are. There are, I guess, undoubtedly a number of things a couple could do. For example, you could have a decorator for the wedding, and there could be various tiers. The highest tier might charge a lot more money than the lowest tier. So of course you might want the wedding to be aesthetically pleasing, but you might have to adjust your budget accordingly. So you can still have an MC, for example, to help with the running of the wedding, but it might not be the top comedian, that is the best, the best entertainer. You might have one that's is competent and will get the job done, but isn't that top comedian. So I think that's another way as well. So you can still have the different elements of the wedding that you envisage, but you just adjust the tiering. It's like if you were staying at a hotel, you're gonna, if you're going to another country, you're not going to sleep on the street. You're going to stay in accommodation, but you're going to stay in accommodation according to your budget. So if you've got an unlimited budget, you're going to stay in the penthouse, the king suites of a top 5 or 7-star hotel. If your budget's a bit more, minimal, you might stay in a hostel, for example. So you're still sleeping in accommodation, but it just varies.
Or maybe there might have been a different way, because they got the official Disney one. Like, imagine the official Disney is going to be like some serious, like 3K for 30 minutes. That is serious premium.
It might have also included travel as well.
Yeah.
And accommodation.
So maybe what they could have done is got like there might be somebody else that can do it.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
Way cheaper.
Or even in terms of the food, they could see if family or friends would be willing to chip in,
right?
To contribute to catering, things of that nature.
Wait, what do you mean?
So family and friends could cater.
Family and friends. Oh, cater.
Yes, if they had friends that were capable of that.
But that's a lot of food though.
Yeah.
It's not like 1 or 2 plates. We're
Yeah,
talking
it's
like
possible.
200 people.
It's possible. It's just thinking of.
Yeah, but what do you mean chip in? That's a lot of rice. That's a lot of,
Yeah, I've seen
lot of meat.
I've seen it happen before.
Really?
Yeah, I've seen it happen before at a wedding where friends and family chipped in with in terms of cooking the food.
So would that be that sounds like it's effectively their wedding gift.
It could be their wedding gift.
Right.
Yeah, it could be their wedding gift. So.
Okay.
Just, or like you said, they could have maybe seen if they could get gifts in advance. There's various different ways they could have
But I see what you mean though. Like, at least now we have food.
Right. There's different ways they could have gone about it.
Yeah.
But perhaps not these solutions might not have been the ideal solution, but there was other ways as opposed to just, we're just going to completely forego it.
Yeah.
And I guess stick with vending machine. And I guess that also you can parallel this into like business as well, where you might want to have a certain service offering or products that you want to launch, for example, or marketing that you want to do, but you may not have the big budget for what you want. Doesn't mean that you have to completely forego it. You can still go through with it, but you just might have to adjust, the output or the processes, how that comes into play. So that's the business key there, I guess, in terms of, you don't have to, because at the end of the day, what they've ended up doing is instead of this being a wonderful day, they have their family and friends, upset and throw it indirects on social media, which is immature for them to do that. But you can kind of understand the grumblings.
Especially on Facebook. That's quite public, isn't it?
It is quite public, yeah. So,
it's basically like an online forum.
Yeah, so that is quite immature of the family to do that. But I can also understand as well how frustrated they would have been to be there the whole day and the only food they had was crisps. So, maybe one packet each, because how many crisps are there actually going to be in the vending machine?
Yeah.
So it might have just been one packet per person. So you can see why they would be a bit irritated, particularly as they didn't have to pay for the wedding. It was completely paid for and there was a budget allocated for this food. They just chose not to use it for this purpose. So you can kind of see why there would be some grumblings there.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think the other thing as well, I think that's come out of it is prioritization. So if you think like to businesses in terms of like, there may be lots of things to do, but I think it's always important to look at all the actions, that are on the list and prioritize to say, actually, what is the items on the list that has the biggest impact on the customer, and proceed accordingly. And then maybe some other stuff, which sounds like a great idea, maybe actually, let's leave that for later, or let's come back to that. So that's also great,
I agree with that.
Businesses have that all, not just businesses, also employees have that all the time, where you have a list that, might feel impossible to finish. But in reality, sometimes you don't have to do everything. Right. Well, certainly not straight away anyway. There may be some things that actually, if you do it now, if you do it now, it's not going to, it might be a piece of work that if you do now, it's not going to be reviewed anyway. It might be something that, just sits on a manager's desk for a while, so. Or
it might be the platinum standard. It's like if you see sometimes a business has a set of offerings and they have a really long list, but then the list at the bottom, the 5 last items, you're never going to come into consideration anyway.
Yeah.
So that might be the platinum standard, but the gold is still very good. So that, you're right in terms of business prioritization, because then you've ticked up all the big items and all the items that customer would actually take note of and appreciate. And then you can work on building in the other things at a later point when you've built up the capacity or the resources or the funding, whatever it is that was causing those issues, or the time in order to implement that as well. But you're still able to provide a very good service offering. Yeah.
Sounds good.
So guys, let us know your thoughts with regards to that dilemma. What do you think about the situation? Do you think the couple are in the wrong? Do you think the family are in the wrong? What do you think in terms of, extrapolating this dilemma to businesses, and what are your thoughts in terms of how businesses could better optimize perhaps limited resources in order to still make a big impact and provide value for their customers? But we hope that you found this podcast helpful and useful and entertaining. If you have, feel free to subscribe to our podcast, rate and review us, give us 5 stars, and interact with us on social media. Also, if you have any dilemmas or any stories that you want us to cover, make sure you message us and let us know, and we'll be sure to do that.
Yeah, and just remind us where can people find us on social media? Social media is on the description box, so you can find us on social media there.
Okay, speak to you soon. Bye.
Bye.